Susanna, tell me the truth. Am I built better than Luis? I had gotten up in the middle of the night for a glass of water and accidentally caught a glimpse of my husband's coworker, Hank, with his girlfriend. They were tangled up together, without a care in the world about who might see them. I should have walked away. However, my legs did not seem to work anymore. Hank saw me. The next day, he blocked my path outside the bathroom. Susanna, he said, his voice low and amused. You didn't believe me. Maybe I should prove it. Before I could react, he was already pulling down his pants. My name was Susanna Chapman. I was a married woman with a strong appetite. The problem was my husband, Luis. After he turned 35, his stamina started going downhill fast. He used to last a couple of minutes. Now, he barely made it to 30 seconds before he was already out of breath and rolling off the bed. Me, I was just getting started. That restless itch would build inside me. Impossible to ignore. In the end, I had no choice but to sneak out a little toy and take care of it myself. When I finished, I turned my head and looked at Luis, already fast asleep beside me, and a wave of irritation rose so sharply that I almost wanted to scream. I slipped out of bed and headed to the living room for some water. However, as I passed by the room where Luis's coworker was staying, I heard soft, muffled moans drifting from inside. The sound struck me like a spark, reigniting the itch I had just managed to suppress. I froze in my tracks. Before I could stop myself, I leaned in. I was just about to press my ear against the door when I realized it was not fully closed. My heart began to pound as I gently pushed it open a crack and peeked inside. On the bed, a man moved hard and fast over a woman beneath him, both of them breathing heavily. His arms were thick and strong, and his waist was tight and powerful. The muscles along his hips shifted in smooth, controlled rhythms. Something about him made my chest tighten, heat pooling low in my body. I never would have guessed that Luis's quiet, low-key coworker had such a side to him. Their chaotic, breathless sounds filled my ears. Tugging at something deep inside me, the toy I had used earlier suddenly felt meaningless. How could it possibly compare to a real man, especially a man like that? I swallowed hard, my heartbeat racing. Another sharp thrust. The woman on the bed let out a broken cry. A gasp slipped from me before I realized it. When I looked up again, my eyes met his, which were dark and deep. They were fixed on me as if he had been watching all along. For a split second, it felt like my soul left my body. I snapped out of it and rushed into the bathroom, slamming the door behind me. My heart pounded wildly, like a drum in my chest. A second later, I heard the door outside creak open. I pressed a hand to my chest and listened. Nothing after what felt like forever. I slowly reached out with trembling fingers and pulled the bathroom door open just a little. Then I saw him. My breath caught and I nearly jumped out of my skin. He was standing right there, bare from the waist up. His broad chest was marked with several thin scratches, and his skin still glistened faintly with moisture. My throat went dry. I swallowed, my face burning, and forced out a small awkward smile. Hank, you need the bathroom, right? I am done. The moment the words left my mouth, heat rushed even harder to my face. He did not respond. Those dark eyes remained fixed on me, unblinking. My heart began to race again under his gaze. I tried to stay calm, even though it felt like my chest might explode, and I reached out, intending to push past him. However, I was no match for a man who worked every day in construction. He did not move. Frustration flared, and I shot him a glare, telling him to step aside. For a moment he simply looked at me. Then, suddenly, he smiled. Lowering his head, he brought his lips close to my ear and whispered, Susanna, what were you doing just now? His voice was low and slightly hoarse, brushing against me like a feather. A shiver ran through my entire body, heat spreading across my skin.